Well, I felt compelled to make this video today in regard to Adam Kokesh, who a lot of people out there have heard of from Adam and the Man. I first saw him probably on the Alex Jones show, which I watch on YouTube on a regular basis, where I get my news and information primarily, because, as everybody knows, the mainstream media can't be trusted. But back to Kokesh, he was recently arrested for what amounts to civil disobedience in, I believe it was Washington, D.C., in just protesting the cannabis laws in this country. And although he wasn't even partaking in the smoking of the herb, he was nevertheless arrested for being a spokesman in behalf of these people. For basically, he was arrested for exercising his First Amendment right under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. These are God-given rights that our forefathers fought for, that we have in this country, and we're very fortunate to have them. And nations all around the world are envious of us for having these things. But generally, these aren't the immigrants. Generally, the immigrants we get into America are they're capitalist-minded. You know, the opportunity, that kind of thing, strikes their fancy, and that motivates them often to want to move to America. So a lot of times we don't get the best and brightest people emigrating to America, but instead we get a lot of people that just want a better life for themselves and their families, which you can understand as well. I don't mind, as long as they don't come here and become establishmentarians. As long as they are able to discern the difference between the American people and the usurpers of the American people. They call themselves the government. But really, they're not the government, because as anybody knows, the government in America is the people. Not some of the people, it's all the people. It's we the people are the true government. The only legitimate government is the people of America. Not these people that we've hired. The people have hired by voting to represent them. These politicians, nowadays these politicians are strictly representing the banksters. They're representing the people that write their checks, the people that lobby for them. Basically, the Federal Reserve is the most powerful entity in America, and it's unelected people running things. The private group of bankers with the copyright to our currency. You know, and you hear that Bill Gates is rich because he's worth tens of billions, or Warren Buffett is rich for the same reason. But really, it's these people that own the copyright to the currency. How much are you worth? I ask you. If you own the copyright and nobody else has it, basically you have as much as you want. And if you want trillions, you could simply print up trillions, because you legitimately, quote, legitimately own the copyright to the currency. So the whole thing is a ridiculous scam. It's a fiasco. So we got the top banksters, the Federal Reserve Bank, handing down the policy that they desire to the politicians. The politicians, in turn, rubber stamp everything, because under the pretext that these people are too big to fail, and you know, something terrible is going to happen. But the truth is quite the contrary. Something really good would happen if capitalism was allowed to really work, and these people that overextended themselves, intentionally dumping money on the populace through the housing, the mortgage scam, you know, just saying, hey, your house isn't worth $50,000 today, it's worth $500,000. Very arbitrary, capricious appraisal laws, of which I've studied. I had my California real estate license for 4 years, and I learned about these things. Not just to pass the class, but because I was interested in things like how the economics of this whole thing works. And basically, you've got these appraisers working for the banks. The banks want to dump as much money on the public as they can, because that's rented money. It's just like if you had something to rent. You want to rent out as much of them as you can. Well, that's what they're doing with the dollars. They want to put as much on you as they can. And once those loans that they dump on you are insured, insurance that the homeowner is paying, called PMI, Principal Mortgage Insurance. So you got these people buying these overpriced homes, woefully overpriced homes. This is a price fixing, market manipulation to the nth degree is what's been going on here. Rubber stamping these loans, they're insured, the homeowner is paying the insurance, so there's, it's win-win for the banksters. They can't lose, they're insured. The government is paying it. And in this case, the government really is the government, which is we the people. People lose their homes through these fraudulent loans, these liar loans, all this stuff. They knew damn well that they were going to blow the pipes out of the economy, like a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme. It's all the same thing. They knew what they were doing. This was orchestrated. This was engineered. This was intentional. It was invented. It was not due in the least bit to incompetency. So I digress. Back to Adam Smith. Back to Adam Kokesh. Adam Smith is a great writer, and I suggest everybody out there read his book, The Wealth of Nations, where I've learned a lot of my economic stuff from what he wrote in that book. And he points out very great things, that labor is every nation's single greatest asset. It's very important for everybody to understand. But the money has no intrinsic value, okay? Without labor, nothing gets done, nothing. There's no gold coming out of the mines, no silver, nothing else. I digress again. Back to Adam Kokesh. Adam publicly stated on the Alex Jones show, of which millions upon millions of people worldwide and in America watch every day, every week. He declared that he was rallying a march on D.C., an armed march, exercising his Second Amendment rights under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, with loaded weaponry. And, bringing unloaded weaponry is really beyond just symbolic. It's kind of stupid, really. And the whole idea of having a weapon is that it's armed. It's like bringing a sword without a blade. What do you have? Basically, you have a handle. Anyhow, the point is Adam Kokesh is a nonviolent, peaceful guy that just wants to stand up to the system because he hates the system. Adam Kokesh does not hate a living being when he hates the system. Let it be on the record that I too hate the system, the establishment. I don't hate a living being. Guys like Alex Jones and people like him hate the system. We hate the establishment. We see that creeping tyranny comes in the form of economic oppression. So this goes back to why I digressed into talking about economics. It all comes back to economic stuff, okay? Even what Jesus taught, the master of wisdom, the greatest teacher the world has ever seen or ever will see again, taught that the love of money is quite simply the root, the core of all evil. Not some of the evil, all of it. That all our solvable problems on this planet, aside from the sinful nature that we got from the fallen state we have, would be solved through economic justice. Not for some, but for all. Okay? It's the rising tide, lifts all ships principle. The tide is prosperity, and the ships are you and I. Okay? That is what would happen if we had truly sound currency. And there's many simple ways to achieve sound currency. But it comes down to having checks and balances. You've got to have some means of balancing the scales. Okay? If the planet is getting wealthier due to the common man's efforts, due to the laborer going out there and mining the gold and silver, to building the roads, the bridges, the sewer systems, the irrigation systems, the factories, all the stuff coming out of the factories, working on the farms, picking your food, driving your trucks, pounding the nails for your houses. Do you understand what makes a nation wealthy? Get it through your head. So to rip off the poor, to not allow their ships to rise with the incoming tide of prosperity that is created on their backs is criminal. So we don't have a criminal justice system in America. We've got a criminal injustice system in America. And back to discussing about how this Federal Reserve Bank and all these bankers worldwide, these central bankers are private, have their own private security forces. They make these arbitrary laws, whatever their will, whatever their desire. As if these people are literally Satan themselves. They're bloodthirsty monsters. They might as well be. Okay, because it's the same thing to do what they do intentionally. They know what they're doing when they don't give a sound currency, when there's no checks and balances. A check and balance is like a rancher putting up a fence to protect his livestock. Does he have a right to do that? It's axiomatic. It's a no-brainer. Of course he has a right to protect his livestock. Okay, and that's what checks and balances do. They're like rules, regulations to protect people. And if they didn't need protection, you wouldn't need them. But everybody knows they need to be protected against these wolves, these bloodthirsty monsters would amount to. These people that seem to be without a conscience, that don't give a crap about you and I, about our welfare. In fact, they write openly, these people would like to cull the population. They'd like to depopulate the earth to the degree of 80, 90% or more because we're not needed anymore because of technology, mechanization, automation. The manpower is not needed. So we become useless feeders, eaters, users of the resources of the earth. This is the true reason that these people have behind culling the population. They want to save the goodies for themselves. You know, it's their stuff, right? The oil. You know, it's not about the carbon footprint. It's about saving the stuff for them and their deranged children. Okay? That's what they want. They want to leave it to them. And that's how this goes on for thousands of years because these people handed on to their same, the lineage, their kids. Their kids' kids teach their kids that they're special. They're above the commoners, the average working man. When it doesn't take the smart people to be running things, we wouldn't need a government at all. We don't need rulers. The smartest people are the kindest, the gentlest people. These are the sages. The true wise people are the sages. Okay? These are peacemakers. These people want peace, harmony, liberty, freedom, justice. Not for some, they get it. They want it for everybody. That's true intelligence. When you're very altruistic, when you really understand that the key to attaining true happiness is caring about finding that same happiness for others. Okay, others that might not be as survival minded, might not have been brought up with the same work ethic as you. Maybe they're not as smart, maybe they're not as strong, maybe they're not as competent or capable as you, but you get it. You understand these are your brothers and sisters, and God won't allow you, the laws of the universe won't allow you to have true happiness. They won't allow you to enjoy your prosperity while not giving a crap about the welfare of others, about others having prosperity, about their ships being risen by the rising tide of prosperity. I'm not a communist. I'm a free market guy. I say today, we demand free market capitalism, which is supply and demand-based capitalism.